International businessman, philanthropist, and liberty activist Tony Stiles was arrested today by local police for what Stiles called a victimless act of civil disobedience.
A simple bet has left an Omaha entrepreneur with, guess what, a mohawk. That's right. Tony Stiles helped raise over $250,000 for St. Jude's Children's Cancer Research. For his efforts, he will be keeping his mohawk every year that he is able to raise over $100,000 for the charity.
He really is the new generation of talk radio.
I'm just amazed the government hasn't taken him off the air yet.
What is up, Mohawk Nation? You are listening to the king of accountability, the facilitator of awesome, ambassador of badass and defender of freedom, the prognosticator of potential problems, the prophet of political propaganda, the freaking Mohican, Tony Stiles on the Tony Stiles Show. The Tony Stiles Show is the fastest growing radio show in America right now. In just 1 year, this show has gone from being a local Omaha radio show to national syndication. Together, we're taking liberty to the mainstream. In a little while, we'll be joined by economist Jeffrey Tucker. Jeffrey Tucker is my favorite economist. I know that sounds weird to say I have a favorite economist. Nonetheless, the world is getting worse, not better. I'd much rather hear somebody say they have a favorite economist than say that their favorite show is Honey Boo Boo. I'd much rather hear more people talking about their favorite economist than Miley Cyrus shaking her ass in front of Robin Thicke in a Foot Locker uniform. I don't have to tell you that. I don't. You get it. You get it, and that's why you listen to this show instead of the other shows that are pushing false agendas and avoiding the issues with their celebrity BS. Don't get me wrong. I'd love nothing more than to dress up like a referee and get molested by 20-year-old girls. In fact, I did that last week with my producer, Charlie. Later on in the show, we'll be talking to Mises Institute Chairman Lou Rockwell. How's that for a transition? Speaking of getting rubbed down by 20-year-olds, we're talking to Lou Rockwell. Later on the show, we're talking to Lou Rockwell. He is the chairman of the Mises Institute. Lou is a mastermind in the liberty movement. He's arguably the most important name in the movement in this present time. Jeffrey Tucker and Lou Rockwell worked together on the Ron Paul campaign back nearly 20 years ago. There's been a lot of people talking about the Ron Paul newsletters and who wrote those things. Now, in the movement, it's one of those things where we know that they both probably did, but nobody's really saying anything. So I'm planning to ask that question. You know, it may seem like ancient history to you, but it's been a while. Maybe it's time to know. There are some very controversial things said in those newsletters. You can look them up. I posted them on TonyStiles.com. Right now, if you want to take a look, hopefully we get some closure on what I consider to be one of the best kept secrets in the liberty movement today. It's not really something that really matters, but I don't see any issue with the truth coming out of this point. And that's what you like about this show. And that's really why you're here. That's why you listen to the Tony Stiles Show, for the truth. The truth shall set you free. And in radio, the truth is rarely heard. We're changing that here at the Tony Stiles Show. Mohawk Nation has demanded the truth and solutions, and that's what you will get. Manning is going away for 30 years for what? The truth. Snowden is living in Russia because of what? The truth. My friend Adam Kokesh is in jail right now because of what? The truth. No wonder talk show hosts want to talk about nothing for hours on end. They're afraid of the truth. I'm not afraid. I'm going to run my mouth until they haul me off or kill me off. I'm not afraid of these clowns. You shouldn't be either. You shouldn't be. They can't put us all in jail. If they try, we're going to put up the biggest fight the world has yet to see. If they get aggressive, we stand strong and keep our course. If they think they can take away liberty, I say do your worst. because we the people will not lie down. We the people will not lie down. We will be peaceful, but this is important, don't think for one damn second that you're not poking at a giant, because we will take your asses down. These are dark times. These are really the dark ages of America. We're living in a time where truth is treason. We're living in a country designed for the people, by the people, but the people have elected monsters dead set against liberty. Get mad, people. Seriously, get mad about it. Last week, I gave you solutions, and I do that every week. And the solution was to start thinking for yourself and elect people who will actually represent you. That's important. Now, I fly a lot. I'm all over the country all the time. I'm in airports and I get molested. I can't blame them. I'd molest me too. But just bear with me here. Just because some asshat jihadist gets his rocks off by killing our friends doesn't give the American government the right to touch our funny business. Jeffrey Tucker recently had a run-in at the border of Canada, and because I love this guy, you have to understand, I love this guy. He is my favorite economist. Love this guy. Because I love this guy, I'm going to let him tell that story. I get a kick out of him and his sense of humor. I think you'll get a kick out of it too. Jeffrey Tucker, welcome to the Tony Styles Show.
Hey, it's great to be here. Thanks for having me.
I'm excited to have you. I wanted to have you on for a long time. There's a lot of questions I have for you. We were talking earlier before we started the show a little bit about your trip to Canada.
Oh yeah.
What happened exactly? It's a very entertaining story to me, and I think the people listening would like to hear this. This is good stuff.
Yeah, it's sort of entertaining in retrospect, right? But at the time, I mean, the palms were sweaty. I was thinking, okay, Guantanamo Bay is next. Does Canada even use that detention center? I don't know. It was very strange. But in any case, I got stopped by the border police, which it's very strange. We used to call them like the passport people and the customs people. Now they're just one kind of big, security people who are sort of after you in some way. Anyway, I walked up to them, and I gather I made some mistakes. For one thing, I was overly dressed, and I was just simply a tourist, so they didn't believe that. That was a problem. The other thing
when are you not overly dressed? That's my question.
I mean, that was the thing. I mean, after the whole ordeal, had passed, I said to the, otherwise nice lady, I said, "Say, can you tell me why it was that I went to the secondary screening?" And she said, "Well, look at you. I mean, it's your whole dress thing. I mean, nobody dresses like that every day." So I reached into my bags, which they did not search, by the way, and I pulled out, a huge wad of bow ties that looked like, the snakes, just hanging out all over the place. And I said, "I dress like this every day."
Yeah. We are. You'd be hard pressed not to name us in the top 5 of the best dressed in the Liberty Movement. I'm not tooting my own horn. You dress right. Very well, and I love it. I actually debated whether or not to wear a bow tie to this interview because I have a bunch. I have a bunch of them at home, and I love it. And every time I wear one, you've kind of screwed me a little bit because every time I wear one now, they're like, you think you're Jeffrey Tucker.
Oh, so that's no good, right? I mean, I wish this whole thing would stop. I mean, people should have the right to wear a bow tie without being accused of trying to look like me.
I know.
I mean, it's absurd.
Maybe you can get a mohawk and we could be twins.
Oh, that's what I need. I've been thinking about it. I mean, I'm sort of approaching middle age or thereabouts. Maybe I need a big change. But look, if I'd worn the mohawk and the bow tie, the Canadian border police definitely would have.
Yeah. I haven't gone across that Canadian border. Go ahead and continue on.
Well, no, I mean, so the problem was that she said, "So where have you been?" And I get confused sometimes. I sometimes forget this is the government. Me of all people, anarchist. I forget sometimes. Like, I should be terrified in walking up to them as a dedicated anarchist who knows the nature of the state. But instead, I just get carried away and I, start doing the rambling, talking thing. Probably that's because of the martinis on the airplane. But anyway, so I was going through the border, and she said, "Where'd you come from?" And I said, "Well, let me think for a second. I was just in San Diego." Well, no, wait a minute. I drove to Los Angeles. But first I flew into San Diego. And I kind of went through this little babbling routine, which I thought was sort of charming.
Sure.
Or maybe not. She didn't think it was
so.
And so that was what sent me into secondary. And I was on my way out to Freedom I saw the bar in view in the private area of the hotel. You know, airports are funny because you have this like state-owned part of the airport, which is dreary and dreadful.
Yeah.
Where you get interrogated and you have to sort of shed all your clothes and you know all these horrible. You get your stuff stolen. You know, all these. It's like government, right? They steal your stuff. You know, they sort of, and
they
anyway.
do. They steal your stuff.
Right.
That's what government does. That's the business of government, is to steal stuff and pass it off then and saying it's our stuff, really. And I don't like that, because to me, government. This is one of my big problems. Government, especially in this current administration, but you can put it to pretty much any administration over the past 50 years, they don't believe that the money that we make belongs to us. They see it as the money that they let us keep.
Oh, yeah, and that, oddly, that has been true for a long time. I mean, even all the way back to the New Deal, I mean, that was the big transformation in American life, where suddenly the government thought it was the key actor in history. Everything cool that happens is due to government, and we're all these shabby people who just could have greedily hold on to our stuff, so they had to take it from us. I
don't understand that. Like, we don't know what to do with our own stuff. That doesn't make any sense to me. It's our country. It needs to be our money. We can use that as we. I don't need to tell you this. I don't know why I'm explaining it to you.
It's our country. I mean, the bureaucrats do not see it that way. I mean, the political class and the permanent class of bureaucrats do not see that point of view. You just said that it's our country. They see us as a threat. I mean, we are society, and as far as they're concerned, we're just this big menace, big menacing,
some of us more than others,
unpredictable, rebellious blob out here, annoying them with our sort of random choices and behaviors and tendency to do stuff they don't approve of.
Jeffrey Tucker, I'm going to stop you just for a second. We have to go to break, and we're going to come back with more of you if that's all right.
Yeah.
And I want to talk to you about the American dollar system and how it's collapsing, and get your take on it. I compare it to Rome quite a bit. I know you do too. I'd like to riff with you a little bit about that. And I know that there's a lot of people that want to hear both of us do that at the same time. Yeah. So we're going to appease the audience a little bit. We're talking to Jeffrey Tucker on the Tony Styles Show. Stay right here. More to come. You are listening to the Tony Styles Show.